Alright, so today we're gonna be taking a look at the full kit for Blue Ocean Neon. They just released the official kit for this character, and it seems like Blue Ocean Neon is going to be released alongside Bay Goddess Mary. So in this video, we're gonna be taking a look at what she has to offer and what type of DPS character she actually is. So starting things off, let's talk about the basic stuff. So Blue Ocean Neon is going to be an attacker, a machine gun user, and she will also have the water element. And just like what I expected, she is going to be a burst 3 character, because it was pretty obvious based on the short description that they gave us that she is going to be a burst type 3 character. And the reason for that is going to be based on her skills. So for her skill 1, Upper Wave, this is going to be a passive skill that activates whenever she uses her burst, and this will only affect herself. So what this basically does is it will increase her damage to enemy parts by 12.4% for 20 seconds. And the more time she will use her burst, the higher the value will be. So when Blue Ocean Neon uses her burst once, she will be getting a 12.4% increase in damage to enemy parts. And this will last for 20 seconds. And then after she uses her burst twice, this will basically double. And then using her burst 3 times or more is going to give her 3 times the original value. And of course, the duration is going to remain at 20 seconds. So looking at her skill 1, this will only be really good for very specific enemies. So if your enemies don't have any breakable parts, then you won't be getting any value out of this. So moving on, we have her skill 2, Water Jet, which is another passive that activates when entering full burst. And just like her skill 1, this will only affect herself. So basically, this will be increasing her elemental damage if the enemy is weak against water, because damage a strong element will only work against enemies that are weak against your character's element. So the first time that your team enters full burst, Neon is going to be getting 20.56% more damage for 10 seconds, and then entering full burst twice is going to increase her damage by another 20.2%, and then entering full burst 3 times and beyond is going to increase her damage by another 20.2%, and all these effects are going to last for 10 seconds. At this point, it's pretty obvious that Blue Ocean Neon is only really good for very specific enemies, but when you do use her in those situations, she will be really good because she has pretty high scalings on her skills. So just from her skill 1 alone, she is getting 36% more damage to enemy parts, and then from her skill 2, she is getting roughly around 60% more damage if the enemy is weak against water. So her scaling is really high. The only thing is that it only works on very specific enemies. So the first ones that come to mind are Nihilister and Blacksmith. Moving on, we have her burst, which is called Full Hydro Shot. This one has a 40-second cooldown, and just like her other skills, this will only affect herself. What this basically does is it will change her weapon, just like what Laplas has, but the only difference is that she will be using a weapon that shoots out bullets that explode. So her weapon is going to deal 11% of her final attack, and it's going to deal double the damage if the enemy has the fire code. And this weapon is only going to last for 7 seconds. So when you first take a look at this, it might seem a bit low because it's only 11% and then 22% if the enemy has fire code. But the thing is that she is actually getting a ton of buffs from her other skills. So she's getting 60% from this and potentially another 36% from this, so it's still really good. And speaking of her burst, when you take a look at the preview for Bay Goddess Mary, you can actually see that her burst only has 10 ammo. So that is important to know because depending on the fire rate of the weapon, you may or may not be able to shoot all 10 bullets within the 7-second time frame. And then switching to Neon's preview, you can actually see that her burst has a pretty good AoE. So the more enemies you have on the field, the more value you will get from this ability. So overall, Blue Ocean Neon is going to be a really good character when it comes to very specific stages. It just really depends if your enemies have breakable parts and if your enemy is weak against water, so that you will get the most value out of her kit. And if you're pulling for Blue Ocean Neon, it might also be a good idea to pull for Bay Goddess Mary, because not only are you getting a healer for your team, but you're also getting a ton of buffs from her abilities. So if you don't know already, Bay Goddess Mary is going to buff all your water allies, so she will be increasing their damage as strong element by 20%, 13%, and another 8%. So that is really good, especially if you're using Blue Ocean Neon. She is also able to increase Neon's attack by 23.23%, so that is overall really good. Not only are you getting a really good healer for your team, but you're also getting a really good buffer for Neon. So yeah, that's pretty much everything I have for this video. And Blue Ocean Neon is looking to be a really good DPS, but only for very specific stages. So if that's what you're looking for, then she will be a really good DPS. She can potentially be really good for future events like the solo raid, because eventually, we will have another boss that is weak against water, and we'll also have a lot of breakable parts. So maybe when Nihilister becomes a raid boss, then Neon Blue Ocean is going to be a really good pickup. With that being said, let me know if you're excited for this character and if you're pulling for Blue Ocean Neon. As always, don't forget to leave a like, comment, subscribe. Thank you so much for watching and I'll see you on the next one. Peace.